right, it's the Illini Basketball Podcast, episode number 99, Wednesday, February 16th, game day, Rutgers tonight. We'll preview that later in the episode. Presented by nobody, no sponsor. Too bad.
Yeah.
Maybe if somebody wants to hit us up, I don't know, whatever. But, we're reviewing an Illinois victory, which is always nice, but I mean, Jesus, the second half of this game was a train wreck.
It was bad. Yeah. It was just, would they have 14 turnovers in the second half or something like that?
That's about right, yeah.
Not good. But that's kind of been Illinois' MO lately, right? They play really good for a half. They are really bad for a half.
I think that half was an anomaly.
I hope it was.
They're facing a bad team. Nobody's playing well except for RJ pretty much.
Yeah.
And Northwestern had a couple of energy guys off the bench make some plays.
Yeah, and it's not like Northwestern beat them with stellar shooting or anything. I mean, most of their points were scored in the open court after a steal or a turnover. So, but it is what it is. It was a victory, and we have to pick a player of the game. So, RJ Melendez, right?
Back-to-back games for me.
For you, yeah. Because you thought he'd never get another one. So
I was wrong. He clearly listened to the show, gave him a little fuel. So you're welcome on that, RJ.
Yeah. 17 minutes for RJ. He was 3 of 4 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. Made all 6 of his free throws, 14 points, 6 rebounds. Had a couple of huge rebounds down the stretch for Illinois. Had 2 steals and had one nice block when he got beat by Adige. He caught up with him and blocked him on the other side of the basket. So he's playing really good defense, which is a huge thing for Brad, right? He wants guys that play good defense. And I think that's kind of why he plays who he does sometimes. He still thinks Hawkins plays really good defense, which we'll talk about later. But that's kind of a big step for him is how good your defense against these Big Ten teams. But yeah, Melendez was basically the carry for the last 5 minutes of the game, it seemed like.
He's got a very nice shot, too. I don't think a lot of people talked about what his shot was like. I think more so in this freshman class, it was more about Goody's shot.
Yep.
But I think RJ's been a big piece to the puzzle here. But I swear, I mean, I'm not going to be able to watch the game live tonight, but I swear if Coleman Hawkins is the first guy off the bench again, I am going to lose my mind. And also, we only got a few weeks left to Farm League, so I got to get him in while I can. But Hawkins better not be the number one guy off the bench tonight.
So Hawkins was the pre-game interview, so I think that we're going to see a lot of Hawkins tonight.
This is ridiculous. I mean, it's absurd. I mean, what is the point?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, he's taller than everybody else off the bench, and he provides no impact on the game whatsoever, but let's throw him in there.
His defense. But yeah, let's
great defense.
Back to Northwestern. Kofi, I mean, Kofi had a good game. You can't be mad about it, right?
Led the team in turnovers.
Kind of the guy that could score in the second half. He was 8 for 11, 3 of 6 from the free throw line, had 15 rebounds. So Illinois definitely rebounded the ball better this game, which they probably should have against a Northwestern team. They had 11 offensive rebounds, which is a pretty good number. And Brad's been stressing about how soft they've been on rebounds. So out-rebounded Northwestern 47-30. But Kofi had 19 points, like I said. However, he did have 6 turnovers.
4 more would have been triple-double.
He seemed super weak with the ball. They were doubling him a lot. And in the second half, they kind of could do that because Illinois really wasn't making much. And him and Curbelo combined for half the turnovers. So Bello off the bench was not great. But a good mark. He tied the Illini record with 41 double-doubles, tied Skip Thorin. So he will probably surpass him sometime this year. And it was interesting. Somebody asked Brad after the game about his foul shot. I think it was Tyler Cottingham, I believe, because, I want to give credit where credit's due. Asked him about Kofi being fouled, and Brad said that he had a ref tell him that he could call a foul on the guy guarding Kofi every time down the floor. So I probably feels like everybody else feels, then maybe you should. I mean, I don't know how you say that to somebody. But apparently that's what Brad's been told by referees.
This was the best officiating career Illinois had this season on paper because Keith Kimball is the #1 rated official in the country this year. Bert Smith is #3, and then the dude that Kofi almost murdered against Michigan a few years ago is number 57, which is not great, but the other two are top 3 guys.
Yeah,
it's all about field score.
And I don't think it was a ref in this game that said that to him. So
here's the thing.
Officiating was bad in this game.
Northwestern was called for 8 more fouls. I think Northwestern fans would argue that Illinois was being quote unquote bailed out down the stretch, which I think is fair in some aspects, but also, we know how they officiate Illinois games. They call so much more in the second half typically than they do in the first half.
Right. Yeah. And I guess, bailout. Illinois was up 18. Let Northwestern go on a 19-2 run to get it within 1. Somehow found a way to pull it out and not just fall apart abysmally like Ohio State did the other day. But Plummer started off hot. I think he made 4 of his first 5 threes. Ended up 7 of 16 from the field, 5 of 11 from 3. Had 1 rebound, 19 points. He did take 2 free throws, missed them both. I don't know what happened there. And he also set a record for Illinois as the guy with the most 5+ 3-point games in a season with 7. So that's the thing with Plummer is, he's going to get his shots up. Luckily they were falling because everybody else, they weren't. Grandison, what was he? 0 for 5, 0 for 3 from 3, 0 for 7 from the field. He needs to figure it out. He needs to get that mind power going. But Brad talked about his value and said that his value goes way beyond his shot making ability. He said that teams are starting to cover him more because they fear him as a shooter. And he called him a, quote, gravity guy who still draws teams' attention with his shooting ability. I feel like he misses a lot of open threes.
Recently, yeah, I think that's been the case. But also
tested.
His value to the team is cutting, which I don't think he's done enough of lately.
Yeah.
Sometimes offensive rebounding is something that he can do. Yeah. Getting the ball into Kofi and some defense occasionally.
And he did have 6 rebounds this game, so his rebounding was much better this game. And I agree. And Brad mentioned that too. His passing, I still believe that he's the best entry passer Illinois has, and I think it's more because of his length and he can go over the top rather than getting into Kofi down low by his knees, where Kofi has to bring it back up himself. But Kofi's hands weren't great. And when Northwestern came on that backside, they found guys that would poke it away. So I don't know. Grandison, his biggest thing that scares me is when he's handling the ball and he's trying to, maybe go to the hoop. It seems like he gets the ball poked away a ton. But I think Grandison is one of those guys that needs to play. And people talked about Goody not getting any time. Stuff like that. And I think that's fair. Brad said that he planned on playing Goody more, but RJ played so well.
And I had to make sure that Hawkins could get his minutes, right?
Yeah.
13 minutes. Great job.
And Hawkins was praised for his game.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Hawkins had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal.
Yeah, that's all well and good, but come on.
He doesn't give anything offensively. I think there was a time Illinois had a lineup in. What was that lineup they had? It was brutal.
Plummer and then a bunch of other people who can't score.
Hawkins, DeMonte, Payne.
Oh my God.
And somebody else. So I don't know. Brad said that he always plans and then he changes by the feel of it. I think Brad plans and then forgets the plan, but
Goody is a way better defender, can actually shoot. He's not that much small. He's thicker than Hawkins.
Yeah.
He's a little bit shorter, but that shouldn't matter. It's just so dumb.
And I guess it's this thing about the guys the beat writers that cover it, it seemed like they were annoyed that fans were asking this question, but yet they still asked the question in the presser yesterday. So it is what it is. But they talked about, Brad played 10 guys. BBV played 2 minutes. Don't tell me that he played 10 guys. So, I mean, you can't count that. But anyways, back to the starters. We're kind of ranting and raving. DeMonte made 2 threes. He missed 3 threes in about 27 seconds. It wasn't great. They were all open looks. But 3 rebounds, which kind of disappointed his rebounds. He had 2 steals and a block. Other than that, I mean, he played good defense.
Yep.
Audige had a rough day. 0 for 5 from 3. 4 15 from the field. And Audige was one of those guys that I talked about that, like, if he got hot, and if he would have been hot, then Illinois probably would have lost this game. And Audige is just one of those guys that you don't know what you're getting from game to game. Luckily, we got the bad version of him, and also the bad version of Boo Booey, who went over 5 from 3.
What a bum!
3 for 13, 8 points. Give credit to Trent Frazier. He's not shooting well, but he was 2 of 7, 1 of 5 from 3, 2 rebounds. He had 6 assists, so he is distributing well. A steal, of course, 7 points. Shout out to Trent. He hasn't made any award lists. He finally made the senior class award finalist, so whatever award that is, good job.
Yeah.
As far as the bench, Boswell Verdonk, like I said, 2 minutes, 2 rebounds. Payne played 10 minutes. He had a nice dunk. They said the rim was still shaking like 30 seconds later. 2 rebounds and a block. Hawkins, your boy Hawkins, 13 minutes, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal.
One of his better games recently, I think.
Yeah, and Brad said that everything with Coleman is about his defense and how low he gets. He said when he stays down low, he can really guard people. He's been really good the last 2 games. When he's dialed in, he's an elite defender.
Yeah. No, he's not. I'm going to come up with a stat.
I feel like he
here.
gets beat and then fouls the guy more than he does anything else.
I think Coleman Hawkins leads the country in fouls per minute, I think.
But you know why
average.
they're saying this is because he did play really good defense against Ron Harper Jr. last game.
Fine, but guess what?
And I feel like he's going to get a lot of time because they're going to.
Well, he better show up.
Ron Harper Jr.
He better show up. I mean, I just think that if he's actually playing well defensively and it's a good matchup for him, he can play. That's fine, but just do not shoot the ball. Do not do anything stupid with the ball, because it's easy to say this about Hawkins, but also Curbelo was horrendous in this game. I mean, he was just terrible. And it's the type of game you're going to get with him. I think it's probably his worst game of the season if you don't count the early season blow-ups.
I'd say his ball handling was bad. I don't think he was like per se bad all around. He had some questionable moments with his ball handling. I mean, he was 2 of 3 from the field. He had 3 rebounds, had some really good rebounds, and had 2 assists. He did have that nice between the legs, behind the back, between the legs, whatever that was. What do you call that? Reverse between the legs? I don't even know.
Sure.
And then kicked it out to RJ, who knocked it down, of course. Brad said that he did sprain his ankle in the practice before the game.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
You gotta stick up for your boys. So
yeah, I mean,
don't mind it.
Here's the thing: Curbelo hadn't turned the ball over more than 3 times since coming back, and then he did it there. So
yeah,
he had.
But everybody was. I mean, that's the kind of
but
game it was, right? I mean, 20 turnovers is horrendous.
They won the game, though, I guess. So.
Horrendous, yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a great 44 points in the first half. Great first half.
Yep.
They couldn't miss. You just gotta. I feel like you gotta feed Kofi and hope that he can get some buckets, because I think on that 19-2 run, Kofi's the only guy that scored. So, but again, you got to win and you move on. I did see a thing. I think it's been floating around a lot of Illini Twitter. that Illinois has missed, I believe it was 40% of their games with rotation guys. Them and Houston are tied for the most. So they've done that, and they just moved up in the rankings, still 12th in the nation. So
no excuses.
No excuses. Everyday guy.
Yeah.
And
opposite of Boo Booey.
Brad was asked about, the fight for first place and that they're in first place. And I respect Brad. He said, we don't talk about that. That's a death sentence. So he's not wrong there.
I mean, Boo Booey's a fraud. Once again,
Boo just can't
he
play.
He does it again. 3 for 13, 0 for 5 from 3. What a joke. And he had some better looking shots in this game than he had in the first game. He had a couple that probably should have gone in that didn't go in.
Yeah.
No, horrendous. I mean, his offensive rating against Illinois in the first game was 82, so much better. He was, 3 for 11 in that game, so not bad, getting better. 58 in this game, his worst offensive rating of the season. So Trent does it again. And Boo Booey stinks. He's a fraud. He's had 2 good games this year against Georgia and Nebraska, which if I had to pick 2 of the worst defensive teams in the country that are in the Power 6 conferences, I would pick those 2 teams.
Yeah.
So he had 27 against Nebraska. Let's give him a round of applause. And 22 against Georgia. There you go, Boo Booey. Very nice. Oh, Eastern Illinois had a good game too. So really lighting it up against the good teams. I mean, what a joke. Anybody who thinks this guy's anywhere near he's not even a top 30 guard in the Big Ten. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, he's got a top 30 name, though.
He does. I did tweet Boo Booey effing sucks on the podcast account, and then I walked that back a little bit, little too far by me. It was a heat of the moment thing.
Just imagine if Boo Booey would have been the reason Illinois lost.
I tweeted that during the game. That's why I walked it back. I was like, okay, got to calm down. Don't want this to happen. But, it is what it is. I mean, I think I tweeted that, and then I said this may have been too far. Apologies. So I feel like we're all square on that. Boo Booey probably likes us, so we're good. But I think the young guys for Northwestern got it going a little bit for them. That's the reason why they were in the game. I mean, I think the thing with Kofi in this game is I think he'd go – maybe I'm wrong. I'm just speculating, obviously. I don't really want to speculate, but I'm going to do it anyway for the sake of this show. Mm-hmm. I think he goes into a game like this and kind of feels like not threatened by anybody on this team. He's not worried about anybody, so I think he's a little bit loose with the ball.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably part of the reason why he had 6 turnovers. I don't think we're going to see him have that many again, I wouldn't think. I mean,
I hope not.
Last time he had that bad of a game was the first time. He had 10 turnovers in 2 games against Northwestern this season.
Yeah. And you have to wonder why Chris Collins, I mean, I know that Northwestern made that run with Pete Nance on the bench.
Such a bad coach, dude. I mean,
but,
oh my God.
But Pete Nance was on the bench with 3 fouls for 8 minutes.
It's the Calipari school of coaching. It's so stupid. I don't even know if they have any ties at all, but it's just so dumb. An old school type thing. Not even really old school. It's just kind of a stupid thing. And another coach that has a horrendous game plan in the second half and horrendous strategy against Illinois and still almost wins the game. Matt Painter, the first time they played, won that game despite horrible coaching. So I don't know. I mean, it's just dumb. Like, I think we are probably lucky that Brad doesn't do that type of stuff. Like, he wouldn't leave Kofi out for that long. And obviously Kofi and Pete Nance are different, but I think the impact on their team
earlier, and you were not very
well, the Maryland thing was annoying, but it was the first half. I don't think he would do that in the second half of a game.
Right.
But that's just ridiculous. I mean, they're better with Pete Nance on the floor no matter what. I don't care how they're playing without him in the game, but I don't know.
100%. And shout out to Ty Berry. He did a really good job helping Northwestern with this run. Started the game 4-4 from 3. And Coleman Hawkins even said yesterday that they knew that all Ty Berry does is shoot threes, and they still didn't go out and cover him. So
that's about right.
I guess they're figuring it out. But you win, you move on, and then you got a tough game against Rutgers. But before we go to that, Kylan Boswell made his official visit during this game. He was at the Northwestern game. He posted on Instagram afterwards a picture of him like sitting in front of a throne instead of on a throne, but whatever. And Tipton Edits wrote, "Very tough, thought this was a commitment edit." And Coleman Hawkins replied, "Soon." So,
well, I mean,
whatever that means.
they have zero ties whatsoever, so
Yeah.
that could be good.
And Kylan Boswell in an interview said that he would love to come back home, play in front of his family, and he thinks it would be really good. So Illinois may be getting another guard.
Yeah, I mean, let's get in the weeds on this one. Okay, number one, he goes to an Arizona prep school, right?
Yep.
The only teams that are said to be, quote, warm on him on 247 are Arizona and Illinois. So a lot of appeal to play with Arizona. I think that is a great option for him. Would I like to see that? No. Or apparently he's from here, so he could come home.
From Champaign originally.
Now, a Boswell-Epps backcourt a couple of years from now would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be – I don't really know how to compare. It wouldn't be the exact same because there was three of them, but you look at what Maxey, Quickly, and Hagens did at Kentucky a few years ago.
Yeah.
Similar impact. Guys that can shoot, guys that can score, guys that can make plays.
Well, and then RJ Melendez development, a 6'7" wing. I think they need to get a big in there somewhere, but
how many years do you think Dane Dange is going to be here? I mean, he's not technically a big, but he is big.
2. I think he is.
I mean, that's a couple. That's a couple.
And then Ty Rogers, for as big as he is, he handles the ball well too. So
I would think that
a dream things to look forward to.
A dream lineup in the 2023-2024 season, which would be not next season, but the one after, would be Epps with Boswell, Rogers, Melendez, and anybody they can find at the 5.
Yeah.
Like, I guess if Dane Danger would have 2 years, then that would be him probably the 5. But that would be an unbelievable lineup.
Yeah, and then have Goody and Podzimski. Hopefully, keeps developing. He's working his butt off, which you like to see.
And Coleman Hawkins will still somehow be here.
Yeah, and Brad also talked about Coleman Hawkins and his shooting and how people are just leaving him open, obviously.
Because he can't shoot, Brad. I mean, if you watched him shoot,
Brad said he needs to get in the gym and shoot 500 shots a day, and he's finally back doing that. So I don't know what Coleman Hawkins has been doing.
Playing video games, doing Instagram Live, if I had to guess.
Yeah. So, Kylan Boswell, if we get him, it'd be amazing. He's currently number 11 nationally on 2.
Don't get your hopes up, though. Don't get your hopes up.
Number 2 point guard and number 2 out of Arizona. And he said that he wants to make his decision sooner rather than later, if that means anything. So,
who was the last? There was another player that they were in on that went to an Arizona school.
The kid that went to Arizona State, right?
I thought it might have been a guy who was also from Illinois or something. I'm trying to think. Michael Foster, was that who it was? Michael Foster went to Hillcrest Prep. He went to the G League, so he didn't go to – okay, he's from Wisconsin. Never mind. But there was somebody who – I mean, he's one of the guys that I think Illinois put an offer in on.
Right.
He would be a freshman in college right now, but he went to the G League. So, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, J.J. Taylor is also a dream.
I believe there was a 5-star that picked Arizona State over Illinois, but I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, that's just a death sentence for a player with their current state. J.J. Taylor, though, as the comment says there, that would be tremendous as well. That's another lengthy guy that they could get who is another one that you look at and you're like, okay. I mean, probably a lottery pick if he develops. Now, he's going to the Kanye Academy thing, right? Yeah. The only 2 teams that are warm on him right now are Kentucky and Illinois, and of course Chin Coleman recruiting him. So it'd be nice to beat him. That's 2023. If they somehow were to land both of them, you have a 2023 class. It's like a Kentucky class, number 5 and number 11. I mean, that would be great. Probably not going to happen. Probably won't get either of them. But hey, we can dream. I mean, who the hell is stopping a lineup that has Ty Rogers and J.J. Taylor in it? I mean, that's 6'8", 6'7". You add Boswell and Epps, those 2. That's Arizona right now, pretty much, except even more skill at the wing.
And I believe that class of 24 rankings dropped. Of course, Merez Johnson has already verbally committed to Illinois. I think he landed 40th. So, I
mean, that's something you take. He'll move up. He'll move up. So I mean, recruiting front looking good. We always get our hopes up. My hopes aren't too up here, even though I've been mentioning
Right.
the idea of all that stuff. But it would be great to land some of these guys. I mean, the 2022 class right now is already pretty good. I mean, it's not to the level that the 2023 class could be if they can actually, beat Arizona and Kentucky for a couple of players. Who knows? I mean, I think if Illinois has a deep tournament run this year, that would probably help with some people. Seeing that they can get it done in March. If they lose in the second round, then you really got a problem, I think. But we'll see. I mean, hey, recruiting is recruiting, but you got to be able to coach. And I think that Brett Underwood can somewhat coach.
Yeah, he's been able to coach pretty well in the Big Ten. So
there's only one player in the top 40 of 2024 who's committed, and that is Marez Johnson. So, I mean, there's like nobody else committed. So I really hope he doesn't decommit. I
thought the guy right in front of him was Houston, but maybe.
Number 56 is Michigan.
30. What's 39?
Dylan Harper, Don Bosco Prep, has not committed.
Okay. Maybe I saw it wrong. I don't know. Anyways.
All right. Do you think Marez Johnson will be like 6'10" when he comes to Illinois?
I hope so. I
mean,
he's got to keep growing, right? He's only a sophomore.
He's got 2 years left of high school, and he's already 6'8". I feel like he could be a 7-footer. We might be talking about the next, whoever you want to throw out there. There's a 7-footer that wasn't a bust. Anthony Davis. There you go. Chicago.
There you go.
Anthony Davis, best shot blocker I've ever seen in college hoops. But I don't go back too far with that. I'm sure there's other guys that could be mentioned. And Fletch is insane with his transformation of players. Yeah, to the point where Tyler thinks it's fake sometimes. So, yeah, I mean, hey,
I mean,
sometimes it does seem
sprayed on, guys.
But it's probably not, if I had to guess. Who knows, though? I mean, that's fair.
I think it's something with how they do it. Like they do it right after a workout. And
that's definitely part of it.
Rub baby oil on them or something. I don't know.
But still, I mean, you look at Io and it's like, okay. And the success of Io in the NBA is helping them too, I'm sure.
I would think.
Which I don't know why. Like, that's just such an easy thing to say, Like,
right.
It's helping them. But do you think that Kylan Boswell's sitting there thinking, well, I won't be able to be good in the NBA unless I go to Arizona? I mean, I don't think that they actually think that way. Like, you can go anywhere and still be good in the NBA.
Yeah.
Perfect example of that. Amir Coffey is playing legitimate minutes with the Clippers right now. He went to Minnesota, who's a train wreck. So it just doesn't. I don't think it matters as much as we say, but I think it will help in the long run. And if Illinois can start a little one and done action, I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
Yeah,
you can't hate it. I mean, JJ Taylor has one and done written all over him, and he'll probably go to Kentucky because of that. But whatever. What can you do? What can you do? All right, Illinois, Rutgers tonight. Say that before I get into
Rookie, what's up, buddy?
All right,
good.
Rutgers, road game, a place that Illinois has struggled at a little bit overall. I'll go over some numbers here soon. 18-6, 11-3, Illinois on the season. They're a game up on Wisconsin and Purdue in the Big Ten. So shout out to Rutgers for beating Wisconsin on Saturday, I believe was that day. But Rutgers has really evolved since they last played Illinois. Illinois obviously won the first meeting by 35. I think we throw that out the window. I don't think that matters.
I was just looking that up. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, that
35.
was just Illinois ran them over, but that's kind of what Illinois has been doing early in the Big Ten the last few years. Like December games, they just killed
back when everybody could score too, right? I mean,
that was back in the good old days of everybody being able to put the ball in the hoop. 6 p.m. Big Ten Network tonight. Don't know who's on the call for that.
Your boy Coleman Hawkins is starting too. So,
what a disaster! What a train wreck that was. I mean, it was good against teams that didn't really exist, but
sure,
not so much. Real quick, I'm just reading. I'm trying to find the announcers for the game tonight. What are your thoughts on Gonzaga and Pepperdine being listed as an under the radar game by Rothstein?
I think it's terrible.
I mean, it's going to be 105-60. I mean, who the hell wants to watch that? That's a joke. But it is
must not be that many good games on tonight.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, Jesus. It's Brandon Gaudin and Jess Settles. Settles, former Iowa basketball player, apparently. Also a farmer, so a Midwest guy. We've had Robbie Hummel like 800 games in a row.
Yeah.
We've had Robbie Hummel, and now we don't. So it's a transition period for everybody, but whatever. I never saw a line on the game, but you wrote -4. So
-4 is what I saw it at last. So
that seems fair, but it also seems a bit high considering what Rutgers has done the last few years.
Yeah, I don't know if they're expecting a letdown after Rutgers.
They could be. They could also be expecting Illinois to be pissed off coming off of a half where they just turned the ball over 5 billion times.
Correct.
Illinois better be pissed.
Yeah. I did think it was interesting. I know Mulcahy's been playing well. I don't think anybody from Illinois particularly likes the guy. But Brad did say that Mulcahy's becoming one of the league's elite guards. Rutgers is not the same team that they played earlier. So.
That's true, but I think the big thing with Mulcahy is length and defense. And if you combine those two things with the fact he's actually making shots now, I do think the teams probably haven't defended him in a way that has been like teams being worried about his scoring ability. Right. I think teams will probably start to figure that out. But they do have a lot more length than you'd think at guard and their wings. I mean, they have it. It makes them harder to defend. I mean, Geo Baker 6'4", Ron Harper Jr. 6'6", Mulcahy 6'6", and Caleb McConnell 6'7". Illinois is 10-3 all time against Rutgers. All 3 losses were at the Rack, which I'm not going to call it anything other than the Rack. I believe it's Jersey Mike's Arena now. Don't care. It's the Rack. They lost there in 2016-17, 2019-20, and then last season 2020-21. I believe that was a December Sunday afternoon game when they lost last season against them. 2-3 all time at the Rack. They won in 2017 and 18 there. I believe Rutgers was horrible in the 2 years that they won there. 75-62. And then this is a game I do not remember at all. I think most Illini fans probably don't remember this at all. This is in the middle of I guess towards the tail end of the Gross era. 2015-16 Illinois double overtime, 110-101 victory over Rutgers. Malcolm Hill, 32 points.
Yeah, that was a game Malcolm Hill couldn't miss.
Just don't remember the game.
He made one. I'm pretty sure he made one, like basically falling out of bounds, like 35 feet away.
And now Malcolm Hill specializes in coming in at the end of games for bowls and padding the stats. Because if you watched him last week against the Suns were minus 6.5. The Suns were up 20 going into the fourth quarter. Malcolm Hill was lighting it up to cover the spread.
Okay. Well.
So if your Bulls plus 6.5 last week, you better thank him.
Steve with his prediction, always a tough game at the Rack, but Kofi will carry us late. Illini +4 win.
I think Peichel, is one of the best game planning coaches this season. I think that the way that he plans to defend I think a lot of it's a personnel thing. Early in the season, they were just out of sync. Geo Baker was not playing. Yeah. Harper was off. Mulcahy was doing nothing offensively. They're trying to figure out how to replace Miles Johnson's been an issue, but I think that he's going to be really aggressive against Kofi, and I think they're going to go for the ball a lot, and they're going to make Illinois beat them from the outside.
Well, I think Amorier, is that how you say it? Amorier? I don't know.
Omoruye?
Thank you. I think he's playing a lot better than he had been.
Yeah.
So I think that he's going to give Kofi a little bit of a tougher time than, some other teams that don't have a big like that. So,
I mean, he had 22 points, 9 of 13 shooting, and 6 rebounds against Northwestern when they lost in overtime. Not much of a rebounder for a guy who's 6'11".
Yeah.
He only had 8. He hasn't had double-digit rebounds since he had 13 against Maryland in the loss. So
he's their leading rebounder with 8.
Yeah, not much of a rebounder for that size. But, he can block shots. He had 4 against Nebraska. He had a game with 3 against Iowa. So he can block some shots. I don't know if that's going to be a concern. I think officiating is going to be a huge part of this game. But I also think that if I'm Steve Peichel, and I'm not, clearly, but I think you got to make the Illinois shooters beat you and go after the ball with Kofi because they have a hard-nosed, aggressive defense. Their offense is something that concerns them. I think Rutgers' offense is not great.
Yeah. Geo Baker makes it a lot better than what it was a while ago because Geo can hit those shots that most guys can't when you're late in the shot clock. Or I know Ron Harper Jr. tries to hit those shots a lot, but he doesn't seem to make them as often. I think just because he is a step slower than Geo Baker, but
he's like an offensive guard.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah, and so how do you match these two teams up with the lineups at this point?
Yeah, I mean that's going to be the question. I mean, because you got to think that, of course, Trent's going to guard Geo Baker, right?
Yeah, but then Plummer is a big issue here.
That is my.
You got to put Plummer on.
I honestly, I thought that. I was thinking this today, this morning. I was having my coffee, and I was like, "Who is Plummer going to guard?"
It's problematic. I mean,
and I guess the reason it's problematic is because Mulcahy's playing so well, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and he's like 5 inches taller.
Yeah, so he will just post up Plummer all night long. The only good thing there is that you have Kofi, but the problem is Kofi will come over and try to block it, and Mulcahy will find a way to dump it off. So I don't know how Illinois is going to guard him right now.
Illinois is going to have to do what they did in the first game, which is just score a ton of points. And that's going to be a little bit harder, especially on the road in this environment. But, I think Harper is obviously a guy that DeMonte guards because the height difference isn't that large, and DeMonte's got a bigger body to handle that. And then I guess you go McConnell against Grandison and Kofi and Clifford. So, I mean.
Yeah. And then I think that we see the only problem, it depends on how well Plummer's playing, but somebody posted it that thing with the plus minus. Can't remember what that Twitter guy is or what that account is, but Kofi and Plummer lead the Big Ten in plus minus this season,
which is unbelievable.
So
two worst defenders on the floor.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that's the thing is you need Plummer because he's so good offensively, but I don't know what they're going to do against this deep.
You want to get even deeper. I mean, here's the thing with Plummer. Quick guards.
A lot of Hawkins threes.
Yeah, great. Quick guards are the ones that beat Plummer. Mulcahy's not quick.
You're not wrong there.
I think that's something you think about.
He gets beat on back cuts and stuff like that.
Fats Russell is a much worse matchup than Mulcahy for Plummer.
Yeah. And who came down? Was it in the Northwestern game? Plummer missed a shot and then came down and played great defense. Stayed with the guy. Who was that against? It wasn't Bowie. Might have been Audige. I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
But anyways, he played great defense. The guy ended up scoring on him, but he bellied up to him and he played really good defense there. But you're right. It's the back cuts and the quick guys that get him.
Jab steps that send him 20 feet.
He's just a little slow. For some reason, because he's a quick guy, which is crazy that he's that. So he can't anticipate, I guess.
I think he's an offensive player. I think pretty much
that's all he cares about. Sure.
So they can do line changes during the game, make a three, go to the scorer's table, throw somebody in there. That guy defends, goes to the scorer's table, throw Plummer back out on offense. That should be a thing in basketball, to be honest. But are we going to address Brad's comment here? Not Brad Underwood, but Brad P. I mean,
I put it up there.
This is a pure reaction of somebody who
Illinois has gotten soft. Rutgers with the upset.
In what way have they gotten soft? I mean, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, I don't think so. I know Brad Underwood.
In certain aspects of the game, yeah, but that's not the definition of the team. Yeah, that's
But I don't think they're soft. I think that they get lackadaisical sometimes. I think that part of Coach Brad Underwood's offense is it's a lot of nonsensical running around that wears them out. Brad calls it movement offense or something like that. So I don't know. I think that they get wore out in they can't shoot as well as the game goes on. But I don't think by any means are they soft.
And Rutgers winning would be an upset, but it's not that big of an upset. I mean, just look at who they've beaten.
Yeah.
Last 3 games, they beat Michigan State by 21. And I know Michigan State, their standing in the country slipping a little bit after last night. That was just horrendous by them to lose to Penn State. They beat Ohio State by 2. They scored the last 10 points of that game. And then they kind of took Wisconsin apart in the second half by 8 on the road in Madison on Saturday. So this is a Rutgers team that's playing well, playing their best basketball. Hopefully they have a little bit of a letdown spot. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they will. They're just a very weird team. Like, they've lost some horrendous games.
Yeah, I was looking back at their games. And I mean,
Lafayette, I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, but I mean, even recently at Northwestern beat them.
Minnesota.
Nebraska only lost by 2. Maryland beat them. Minnesota beat them. That Iowa matchup that was 48-46 was a barn burner.
This is a 5-loss. They have 5 losses in the Big Ten, and 4 of them are pretty much to the bottom of the Big Ten. And
I don't think
lost to Illinois.
Yeah, I don't think Rutgers kills you with their shooting as much. It's going to be able to stop them with mid-ranges and stuff like that. And we know how Illinois loves to foul when guys are shooting mid-range jumpers. So,
yep, that's a specialty we got going. So we'll see. I mean, you look at the numbers right now, Rutgers 53rd defensive efficiency on KenPom.com. They're 114th offensively. So Illinois 23rd on both sides. So that's a factor there. I think Rutgers – you look at their turnover percentage, it's pretty solid. Illinois has struggled to turn teams over, and then Illinois turned the ball over a lot themselves, even though the numbers have gotten better. Last game, I think, was an anomaly.
Yeah.
I mean, off the bench, Rutgers has even more length. I mean, you look at the guys that play a lot of minutes. You got 6'6", 6'10", 6'7", 6'8", 6'8" off the bench. And Illinois – they've had some length coming off the bench too. I mean, Curbelo is not tall, but Melendez 6'7", Hawkins 6'10", because he'll play. Goody 6'7", BBV 6'8". So
yeah, I mean that's the thing. They have guys on the bench that can match up with them. Those guys just aren't offensive weapons.
Illinois still has the number 1 rated defense in Big Ten play in the conference. So that's something.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Steve said Melendez needs more time on the court. When threes aren't falling, we need someone that can make a tough 2-point shot and take it to the rim. I think we're going to see a lot of Melendez. I think last game proved that he's ready and he's good enough. And I think that the game before that proved that too.
It's a bit weird you had that confidence, though, given what we've seen Brad do time and time again.
Hustle plays. Yeah, hustle plays. Brant says, I think hustle plays will make a big difference in tonight's game. Yeah, Illinois can't come out flat and nonchalant. And I think that they understand that. I think you do that against, when you are beating the crap out of a team like Northwestern, you come back out in the second half and you think that you can do that. And Rutgers, I mean, they're 9-5 right now, so they're still in the hunt to win the Big Ten. I mean, they got some work to do, but they're right there, and they're going to continue to play hard. I hope that beat Michigan State, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. They come, they have Illinois come in and they're exhausted or whatever. They have an off night,
or they think that they're a little bit too cool for school.
Yeah.
Before we get into the predictions, one of the other reasons why I point to the game on Sunday being an anomaly, the second halves against Northwestern the last couple of seasons have been extremely weird.
Yeah, they have.
Like last game, you had Illinois just completely turn the ball over a billion times and barely win after a huge first half. The game before that, it was just an offensive, disgusting ref show. Then how about the game last year at Northwestern when Illinois outscored them by 40 points in the second half? So, I mean, it's just been a very weird set of games with Northwestern. So I think that they'll be fine.
Yeah.
But all right, predictions. After everything that we've said, we still don't think Illinois is going to win.
Yeah. And the drum roll is we both have Illinois losing this game. I got Illinois losing 69-65. Illinois right now they're worrying me. Just their shooting. I hope they find a way back, but the rack is not a place where you're going to find your way back shooting. I don't think. Do I think Illinois is the better team out of these two? Yes. But going into the rack and trying to get a win from probably the hottest team in the Big Ten right now.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be too hard for them.
I think they lose by 3. Wouldn't be surprised if they won.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won.
It's a tester. I mean, we'll see.
But I think that going there is a lot harder than if Rutgers was coming to Illinois this week. I think Illinois would beat them. So
I mean, that goes without saying. They're never going to win at Illinois.
Steve says 72, Illinois, 68 Rutgers. Illinois win. Steve, I hope you're right, buddy.
Illinois is 8-0 at home against Rutgers all time. So it's too bad we can't play them twice here at home, but whatever.
Yeah, how come they don't let us do that?
Exactly. Around the Big Ten, Purdue. Woo.
Purdue should have lost that game.
Yeah, I mean, the incompetence of Maryland on that last possession was pretty bad.
The incompetence of Purdue to think that they can throw it to the guy out of bounds. What are they doing?
Well, that was a weird clock thing, too. I mean, the clock there.
Oh, no, not Rutgers. Weird clock thing. They should be used to that. They deserve to lose because of their weird clock.
I agree.
But yeah, they escape by a whole point to Maryland. And then Michigan State, of course, we talked about that earlier, got beat by Penn State last night. And I'd say kind of a shocker, right? Don't think a lot of people saw that coming.
We'll leave it to Izzo to keep his best defensive player on the bench down the stretch.
Yeah, I think Michigan State was only like a 2.5-point favorite, 3.5-point favorite. So Vegas knew. And then Ohio State, of course, lost to Rutgers. They rebounded from that by beating Michigan and then beating Minnesota.
They were down at the half against Minnesota. Minnesota scored 20 points in the second half.
Yeah.
Outscored 47-20 in the second
I really
half.
thought that after we said Ohio State was the sleeper team in the Big Ten in our countdown to March Madness, they were going to blow it against Minnesota.
I mean, I think Wyoming took on that role for us.
That's kind of how it goes. And then last night, Wisconsin somehow, some way finds a way to beat Indiana in a game they had no business winning. Johnny, National Player of the Year, Davis gets a continuation foul call towards the end of the game. Amazing. It's amazing what he can do. Sometimes he goes 12 of 15 and sometimes he goes 3 of 19. So he had 3 good games all year. So National Player of the Year, go ahead and crown him.
3 big road games. I mean, he had some good home games too.
I know.
So here's the thing.
Indiana lost.
The incompetence of Indiana is hilarious to watch.
And then
that was good.
Johnny NPOY called everybody in Indiana the P-Star SS.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, probably pretty accurate if you ask me.
And Davidson's still the biggest bitch in the Big Ten. So
I do think that that's probably true. I think that the hate of Mulcahy from Illinois fans should also be directed at Davison even more. Like Davison's worse.
I don't dislike Mulcahy, honestly. He
seems like a good cat. Seems like a good guy.
I think that he plays hard and it pisses people off, but I don't think he does stuff like Davison does.
The weird stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I think also the fact that I think there's a reputation with white players, and I hate most white players. I mean, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I don't care. I don't like a lot of white players. Just because I think that a lot of us are not good at basketball. So whatever. I mean, there's the reason that I don't like Brad Davison is not because he's white. I just want to get that out there. It's because I think he's a dirty player. But you put 10 white players in front of me, I'm not going to like 7 of them probably. Yeah. It's just the style of college hoops that I like. I don't like the white players who have no athleticism whatsoever.
You hate pretty much the whole Wisconsin team except for a couple guys.
I like Tyler Wall, good player. I like players who are like truly skilled, and somewhat athletic. Like if you're
that's what I'm saying, Pookie.
If you're, for example, Brad Davison, all he can do is just like shoot the ball. And if you watch him shoot, he's either going to go like 3 for 5 from 3 or 0 for 7.
Well, I mean,
be actually skilled, have some actual skill. It's a right place, right time thing. But Johnny Davis, National Player of the Year, congrats to him. The KinPom.com Player of the Year standings has Johnny Davis at number 9 behind Sheboy, who's number 1. And somebody who should be getting a lot more play for this award is E.J. Liddell.
Sure.
20.7 rebounds a game and has been dominating for Ohio State. I mean, why are we not talking about him more?
And I think that for some reason nobody's talking about Ohio State at all. I mean, they're and I think maybe because they've played 2 less games than everybody else in the Big Ten, so you think you see 9-4, you don't think it's as good as 11-4, like Purdue and Wisconsin. But yeah, Ohio State's one of those teams that they're getting good, and they're getting good at the right time, and Liddell's getting guys around him to play better too, which I think good players do that.
And a lot of these ratings are metric based. They're not like, I mean, last year number 1 was Timmy over Garza. So
yeah,
I mean, that's kind of, I mean, Orlando Robinson's number 5 from Fresno State. That's just not going to happen. Keegan Murray 6, Kofi 7, Paolo Banchero 8, Johnny Davis 9, Tari Eason 10. So, but I mean, last year's list was weird. You had Timmy, Garza, Mobley, Butler, Krutwig, Io, Kofi, Dickinson, Suggs, Trevion. So I think half of those guys didn't even sniff the award. So, but Johnny Davis,
last year was weird though. It was pretty much going to be Garza before the season started.
It's a volume thing, you know.
There wasn't a race for it.
If you look at what Garza did against non-conference opponents, that really, I mean, he dropped 26, 41, 35, 34, 30 to start the season.
Yeah.
And he had 30 against Gonzaga. I feel like that probably helps you. But
and I guess while we're on around the Big Ten, congratulations, Nebraska ball, for getting your first Big Ten.
Yes. Big win for Nebraska. Fred Hoiberg's back. The boys are back. Nebraska probably a top 3 team in the conference next season. They're back. I mean, no doubt about it. They play Maryland Friday. That's another win for the boys. That's right. No doubt about it. So let's go, Fred Hoiberg, one of the greats in the history.
We better finish this up so people can listen to it before the game starts.
And now we have to go. All right. That'll do it for us. Episode 100 coming soon.
I agree, Steve.
He agrees with Steve.
Episode 100. Hopefully it's hopefully we're celebrating a win in episode 100.
Better be. I mean, Jesus.
A loss like me and Ethan predicted, but
yep. And then we'll preview Michigan State game probably on Friday. They play that game Saturday. So all right, that'll do it for us. We'll see you in a couple days for episode 100. Illinois better win tonight. Okay, bye.